From Gen Wealth Financial Advisors, it's the fastest 4 minutes in investing.
My name's Scott Inman, along with John Shrewsbury. And John, as we finish out the first complete week of 2021, and you think about what's on investors' minds moving forward, you know, we're still in a pandemic from a medical perspective, but it seems like a distant memory now from an investment perspective. We've come all the way back in the markets, and I don't think folks are talking about that as much. But one thing we're going to talk about in today's fastest 4 minutes is something that I think people are always concerned about for years and years, and nothing ever gets done about it. Nothing ever changes, and in fact, the problems are always getting worse.
Absolutely, and that is the federal budget deficit. The federal deficit hit a $3.1 trillion mark in 2020. That's a record, obviously. And the United States and other governments around the world are dealing with this. And Brian Wesbury, the chief economist at First Trust, is one of our favorite economists out there, along with Ryan Dietrich at LPL. But Brian says that it's more than just deficits and debts. Every penny of government spending is taxed or borrowed from the private sector. And these transfers of wealth and income from current and future taxpayers really do have an impact that we don't really understand to some degree. Yeah. And so, Scott, I think that one of the things that is out there in the public sphere is that there is a theory of economics called the modern monetary theory that basically says the government can spend without any kind of problem. And Westbury says that's just asinine. We cannot do that. Now, he does say that, you know, we have this under control for right now and that we're not Argentina right now. But he says that we've got to find some long-term solution to this ever-increasing debt, or we're going to be in a real pickle.
Yeah, and there's nothing modern about this theory. I think that's what he points out as well, is this, because I think the challenge for people to get their minds around it, and I'll be frank, challenge for me to know what the end game is to an out-of-control budget deficit and out-of-control overall U.S. debt. The only thing you can really look back is history, and historically, this has been tried before. Governments have tried to borrow themselves into the ground, and it hasn't ended well. So at some point, I think that's Westbury's main point here is it's manageable for now, but at some point, and the point is getting closer than it was yesterday, we have to have some reform.
Yeah, he says in his article that we're referencing here, he says eventually math wins. Yeah. And he says you're already seeing this in New York, Illinois, and California, where people are voting with their feet. People moving out of California into Texas. Elon Musk moving from California to Texas and all his factories and everything coming with him. Those are things that will make a big economic impact on a place like California. So he basically says that we've got to come to our senses, and he's hopeful that since Joe Biden may be a one-term president because of his age, according to Westbury, that there is a maybe a hint of wanting to leave a legacy, and that Biden, after he gets into office, could work with the Republicans to really do some real reform and try to change things in Washington and not continue to add to the spiraling debt that we have on a continuous basis.
Yeah, and I think that certainly remains to be seen, and we're hopeful about that too. He does, from an economic standpoint, point out that he is very bullish for 2021.
Right.
I think most people are. Most of the people that we read, I very rarely see anybody that sees a real problem moving forward in the next 12 months. So I think it's worth pointing out that we could see markets go higher in the next 12 months, but this is an outlier problem that's always out there and could jump up and bite us at some point.
Westbury says it's not the end. We just got to work the problem.
That's it for the fastest 4 minutes in investing. We thank you for watching on social media, and the Get Ready for the Future show continues right after this.